Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Renew Show. Thank you for tuning in. Our format's changed a little bit, so even though it looks like we're all talking to you now, this isn't live, although we will be reading all of your comments. May not be responding in real time. So, anyway, before I say any more, I'm going to let my co-hosts introduce themselves, and then we'll talk about what our topic will be.
Hi, I'm Sarah from the Smiling Moose Fat team.
Hi, I'm Sherry Ann, Jazzwife KNS.
I'm Brooke, Crazy Running Mom.
All right, and I'm Khalif, Fat Guy Skinny Wallet. And our topic today, we're going to talk about how to prevent weight loss from taking over your life, and talk about maybe some of the struggles we've had with that. So, okay, first off, have any of you guys, or I say any of you ladies, experienced that where at any part, not just weight loss itself, but any aspect of fitness, has it taken over your life to the point where every time you turn around, every time you look, every email you get, whatever, is something to do with fitness or weight loss?
Yes. I don't know, I kind of feel like for me, I think it's necessary for it to be that way, at least for a while, just so I can stay focused. I mean, I think it's not only with weight loss, but with other things. But if I need to focus on something, I kind of saturate myself with whatever the goal is, so I'll read more blogs, I research more things. I'm always doing something. So definitely for me, at least at first, for a while, to get me motivated and going, I'll saturate like every part of my life with it for a while.
Okay. Brooke or Sarah, what
For
about you?
me, for sure, it's something that I have to not constantly be aware of, but I have to be aware of. It does happen, and I don't like it when it happens personally, because then I feel like I'm just doing the same thing but with something else. Like people say transfer addiction. I don't know. I don't really like the word addiction when it comes to like food or exercise. I don't know. I feel like it's not the right word for me. But yeah, there's plenty of times where I'm obsessing not about food, but then like what I'm going to eat or not eat, or what I'm gonna have to run that day. I don't know. It can get to a weird place, and I don't like being in that place.
Yeah, I agree. I've had the same thing, when kind of like I was first starting out. It was just a massive kind of obsession. Like everything revolved around it, constantly thinking about calories and what I was going to eat that day and when I was going to work out and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for me, it's been like that because I don't know, I guess I have that personality where I throw myself into something to be able to learn it, and whatever it is, like I have to research something or become almost intimate with it. So I'm not comfortable with something if I feel like I don't know it well enough that I can actually share it with someone else. If I'm just following something mindlessly and I don't understand why I'm doing a certain thing. Like if you just write out a diet plan for me and say, "Here, do this and you'll lose weight." I'm not really going to be engaged in it because I don't understand it. I don't know the big picture. I don't get the concept. Just following instructions without it's hard for me. So I tend to throw myself into something, or I get intimidated by it because trying to understand something on that big scale is very difficult. So I get intimidated and never start. So one of those two things happens. But once I start, I tend to throw myself into it, and sometimes can get burnt out or different things. So I don't want it to take over my life, but I don't want to shy away from it because I'm intimidated by by trying to learn what I think I need to know. So I don't know, kind of weird. Like, because I'm kind of in both, where in a kind of like Sherry Ann said in the beginning, I need to jump into it, but I want to be able to pull back relatively quickly. Like, I want to be able to set something and say, okay, now that I know what I know, I'm going to do this and just discipline myself to stick with it. But it seems like in order to stick with that discipline, I really need to push in that. So, I don't know.
That's kind of the thing that's a lot of people's stories, right? Is they'll start off really strong and be doing well, and then after a while they can ease off some of the things because they're reaching their goals or they feel more comfortable, whatever it is. And then sometimes when you let go of certain disciplines, then all of a sudden you totally fall off too, and then you regret not having the disciplines you had at first. And so yeah, I just think I don't think it's good or bad. I think it can be in a good place, and like Brooke said, it can get to a really weird bad place. But I don't know. It depends. Yeah, I don't know what the right thing to do is, or like the right balance is for those things.
Yeah,
Sometimes it feels like unobtainable. Like you get yourself to this point where you're like, oh, I'm doing good, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But really, like over the long term, is that really something that you can continue doing? Can you really continue thinking about weight loss 2 hours or 3 hours out of your day for the rest of your life? Like, I don't know. I'm trying so hard. It's like I'm to do little steps, little steps, little steps, and it doesn't have to be like building Rome in a day. And I think that's where the balance can get pretty messed up. It's screwed up and then quit.
yeah, I agree. Like for myself, I know if I go all in and I just become so obsessed about it, and then I just burn out, and then I'm like, well, whatever, I'm done, because maybe it's not happening as fast as I want it to, and I'm just tired of thinking about it 24/7. So it's hard for me to find that like elusive balance, like you were talking about, Sherry Ann. It's like you need to think about it, but you don't need to think about it that much, because like you said, Brooke, I'm not going to spend the rest of my life focusing on that all the time. So it's really hard to find that balance. I don't know.
It seems like it can crowd out other things that are important. I mean, most of us will probably say we have a busy life. So where does the extra 2 to 3 hours of weight loss stuff come from? We probably have to drop something or not pay as much attention to it, and other things probably suffer. Relationships may suffer because, of us doing things consistently or saying we can't go here or can't eat that, so I can't go to that party and hang out with these people, and, I can't hang out with you on Sunday night because that's my meal prep day. And I gotta stay in the house and do that all day. I mean, we can kind of get to that point too. So it does seem difficult to try to maintain a balance. But I guess one good thing about it for me is that we all know what to do. So the plan for what we need to do should be relatively easy. It's now figuring out how we're going to stick to the plan. So it seems like most of the time, like we just say, okay, I'm going to do this. Once we have it set, if it's some program that we're doing or if it's just I'm going to eat less and count my calories, whatever it is, we establish that, we come up with the most efficient way to do it, and then just say, all right, now how am I going to force myself to stick to it? And that should be where 95% of our time is focused on how to stay disciplined and stick with the plan. And that may be better than trying to bounce between different things or constantly trying out something new.
Yeah, I agree. It's just hard to get to that spot, like, and priority wise, it's like anything else in your life. You've got to prioritize, and sometimes it's hard to keep them in balance and in order of importance.
When it, and to like you and Sherry and both talk a lot about discipline, and it's always important for me to hear that because I don't always think of it as a discipline. I think of it sometimes as just something that happens, but it is sort of great when you get to the point where that beginning initial discipline turns into a habit and it doesn't feel like discipline anymore. It just feels like how you live, and maybe that's the point where it starts to not feel so obsessive when you don't feel like you have to discipline yourself constantly, but it's just kind of the way that your day flows. Maybe that's the point where you start to like exhale a little bit and go like, okay, I can let go just a little bit. But every time I start to let go just a little bit,
Yeah.
like Harry Ben said, problems arise. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wish I knew how to find that elusive place where you don't fall off the rails, but you're able to continue in a healthy way with what you've been doing. I don't know.
I don't know, maybe
Very hard.
whatever checks we put into place, are like daily or even every 3 or 4 hours, they drift off and just become okay. Every 2 days, I'm going to do this thing, where whether it's text a person or whatever it is that we're doing more consistently, we can drop off a little, but not completely stop it. So say, I'm going, and some people who don't like logging their food, for instance, will do it.
I was just about to say that, Khalif. You like read my mind because I'm the queen at that.
So what were you going to say? Because yeah, you don't like doing it, and I love it. So what were you going to say?
You're really good at it. Like you'll do. I, and I'll admit this. I'll admit this. I don't like to admit this, but I'll admit this. I've been tracking my food again. I don't know, on and on, off again for the last like few weeks or month or so. And when I'm tracking my food, it's so much easier. I think, oh, tracking your food, what a pain. What a pain. It's going to make me obsess about food. And I've always said that. It's going to make me obsessive about food because I'm having to track it all the time. But really, the truth is, it makes me less obsessed about food because I'm not having to worry all the time about what I already ate. I can just, that's already taken care of, and I can just eat what I want to eat and then move on. I don't have to constantly be thinking, well, did I have enough carbs for the day? Or, no, I can just, I hate to admit it, I really do. Did I track today or yesterday or the day before that? No. But my life is surely better when I do in terms of food.
I hear Brooke saying she's tracking her food sometimes. I'm in shock.
I know. But really, I mean, if I do it every day, even if I write down the stuff that's embarrassing, and that's usually what trips me up. Like, oh, I just ate that. That's so embarrassing. I don't want to put it on there because heaven forbid Khalif might look at it, like my friend. Heaven forbid.
Yeah.
First time, I just over dramatize it in my mind. I'm gonna say it. I need to track my food. I really do. It really is helpful to me, and it makes my life more balanced to track my food.
You heard it here. Brooke admitted she needs to track her food.
Feeling a little shaky right now.
No, I agree, and sometimes with me I'll track, and yeah, it's the same thing where I feel like okay, I don't want to put something down. I mean, I feel like sometimes, wow, if it was just me, if my FitnessPal, if I had no friends on there, I would track 100% of the time. The only times that I ever don't track and I get into this habit of not tracking is if I have a day or 2 or 10 where I eat something that I think someone's going to criticize me for. Even if I've had nothing all day and then I have a 1,000-calorie meal, I feel like people are going to say, whoa, that was a huge meal. Even though that was the only thing I had for the day, people are going to say, wow, that's a big meal. How are you going to lose weight with this? And just start going on. So, I just say, okay, maybe I just won't track it, or maybe I'll put it in tomorrow. They won't go back and look a day behind. Maybe I'll do that. Or maybe I'll put it in and I won't hit that button that says complete your log so it doesn't pop up that I tracked for the day and they won't even bother looking. I mean, it's just silly stuff. When we set, and that's when we start to kind of get obsessive when we let those thoughts come in rather than say, okay, this is something that I can do. And I mean, I think Brooke and I, we talked about this before, is that especially the weightlifters and what, not just bodybuilders, but anyone like that who's tracking, who seems to be in really good shape already, they just do it and they'll have streaks over 1,000 days, and they don't need to track the way that we have to track, and they'll just do it. They have no problem doing it, and it's the ones who benefit more from it that we will shy away from it.
I said nobody I had it on, but Pete is like that. He's like the religious tracker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah, exactly. He's at close to 800 days now, I think.
That's
Wow.
amazing. I get to like a 20-day streak, and then
Yeah.
And so I remember Pete doing one of our shows. He said that his trick, at least in the beginning, was he made it his homepage. So whenever he went on the internet, MyFitnessPal came up. So it kept the streak alive, and also it was thrown in his face, so he would automatically start tracking. Now I think it's just like he probably can't eat. He'll probably start shaking or something if he tries to put food in his mouth that's not in MyFitnessPal already.
I actually did that because he said that. So yeah, so MyFitnessPal is now my homepage as a result. It is, so like I have to see it every time I turn on my laptop. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's funny you mentioned like the shame and the fear of people seeing stuff because I've been on my Fitness Pal, on and off for a while, but Khalif was my only like friend on there. And in another like business group there that we're in, there's a runner, and he always talks about like his training and stuff, and he started tracking. He's like, oh, I found you guys on there, so since he talks about it, I had to accept him. So I'm like, oh my gosh, someone's gonna see how badly I eat because I try to be really honest and I eat like crap a lot. So I really was having trouble with that. So then the other day now, someone from my church found me on there, and that friend request is just sitting there looking at me every day because I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to open myself up to that kind of scrutiny now. It's like
That's funny.
in my mind.
I guess I'm the opposite of all you guys. I don't care who knows what I'm eating. Just like, whatever. I ate it. Done. Like, it doesn't bother me.
But you know what it is? It's not even exactly what I eat. It's that I set this calorie goal, right? So when I have like twice as much as that should be, and it's like in red, and like it's the red color of shame that shows like I'm way over my calorie goal.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh yeah.
No, I was locking my dinner right now.
I haven't been on my Fitness Pal in a really long time. I actually miss the tracking, and I'm looking forward to getting back at it.
I think you should do it now. Don't blame Sharif. Just start now.
Nah, I'm going to wait a little while longer, but then I will get back to it.
For those who don't know, Matthew and Sarah are contemplating naming their baby Sharif, which is a combination of Khalif and Sharianne, or Sharianne and Khalif. So they're really seriously contemplating this. It depends. They don't know if they're going to have a boy or girl yet, so that may factor into whether they actually pick the name
Just
Sharif.
add a vowel at the end, and you'd be Sharifa.
Yeah, that is true. Yep.
That is a great idea.
Sarah, your face is not convincing.
Yeah. Nah, I'm sorry. It's all Matt's fault. I told him he said no, so blame him.
You're gonna blame Matt on this one, huh?
Yeah, he's not home now, so it's okay.
So, is there anything that has worked as far as trying to create a good balance, and not obsess, and also not fall back so much that you're not even invested in it anymore, and then you go off track?
I haven't discovered that yet.
Okay.
I honestly don't have a good answer or advice. Like I'm still searching for that.
With running, I've never done that because the goals are always changing. There's periods where I'm easier on myself, and then there's periods where I'm really hard on myself, and I have different goals depending. So you can't really do that with food and nutrition. But anyway, like with running, you can change your goals. With fitness, with weightlifting, with powerlifting, with bodybuilding, anything like that, you can constantly be changing your goals and keep it interesting. But with food, it kind of is like, well, I'm just gonna not worry about what I'm eating for a while.
But I mean, actually, that is a good point. And some people do actually vary their diets, for different reasons, So, I mean, I think for me that would work as far as not necessarily just exercising or eating, but just in general, like keeping things interesting is a good way to keep me going with something because I'm quickly bored. So maybe that's what I should try to do this go round is just find ways to not drop my disciplines off, but just to alter them to try new things. Like we have a friend, she actually lost her baby weight. She lost like 50 pounds in no time. And for her, it was always changing her workouts. Like she just did every beach body workout known to man. And for her, keeping it interesting is what kept her motivated to keep going. And so, she's still doing that. So, maybe that is some good advice in general, like with eating or exercising or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I think goals, like we can set smaller goals, but I think I like the idea of setting a goal and then our eating and exercise will support that goal. Rather than just say, well, I'm going to eat less, exercise more, but really saying, okay, I want to lose X number of pounds a month. What does that look like weekly? So what should my caloric deficit be daily? And am I going to include one day where I just eat at maintenance just so I can have a little more, not say an all-out cheat day with 10,000 calories, but to really just say, okay, I'm just going to eat at maintenance, or you know what, I'm going to have 300 calories above maintenance today and work out a little bit more to offset that. Anything like that, we could actually just plan. We can take 5 hours one day and plan the next 6 months out, and of course deviate from that when we have to. But we can really do that, be realistic, not be too hard on ourselves, rather than just say, I want to lose weight. Oh, she lost weight by doing this thing, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the cabbage soup diet, then the Mayo Clinic diet, and then you're really just saying, okay, well, I want to focus on, like, there are people who want to lose weight and then they take a period of time to say, I'm just going to eat at maintenance, or I'm going to eat a little bit of a surplus and know I'm going to gain weight, but I have some athletic event coming up. So I'm not going to try to be in a deficit and fuel my body at the same time. I know that for the next month I'm not going to lose any weight intentionally, so I'll just deal with that. We actually setting goals ahead of time, and so we're not stressing every day or falling and then crying ourselves to sleep with a chocolate cake in our hand. Like, we're really, setting goals and sticking with them, and then I said that becomes habit to do that and not spend our whole lives worried about it.
Yeah. I think personally, like for me, short-term goals work a lot better for me. Long-term, like, I don't know, it makes me kind of feel like I'm never going to reach there. So I get the satisfaction of when I hit that short-term goal, it's like, yes, and then reassess and go again. That works better for me rather than like saying in a year I want to have lost 50 pounds or 100 pounds, Just I try and go monthly and like, okay, cool, I can handle this. But a year is too much for me.
Yeah, I think it is too, even for me. But I have the opposite issue. It sounds like you have kind of a good thing that happens where at least you feel like this may be too daunting. For me, I feel like I have all the time in the world. If I say I'm going to lose 100 pounds by the time the year is over, and now what we've done 5 months, I can lose 100 pounds in 7 months. I'll tell myself I can lose 100 pounds in 5 months. And then 4 months later, I'm still not panicking. I can lose 100 pounds. This average 25 a month. Just have to do less than 1 pound a day, and I'll work it out like that. And tell so I agree with you that I need short-term goals, but probably because I have such little discipline with it that I always think I can start tomorrow or next week
Mm,
because I have so much time.
yeah, no. I don't think I have enough time. That's the thing. I need the short term. It's like, no, I can't. I gotta get there, and I have to have that satisfaction of having met a goal. Otherwise, I get a little sad. It's like, oh, that's sad.
Well, you and Matthew are always good at setting challenges and
Yeah,
competing against each other. So
and I usually win. So
yeah, that's what I seem to remember.
yeah, makes me feel good. So hey,
And one thing I've noticed and I don't know if it's because weight loss surgery still is not as common in the public's eye, but especially people who've had weight loss surgery, they seem to devote a lot of time to social media, and a lot of them will say at different points, I spend way too much time on social media. I'm ignoring my husband or wife to be on Facebook and Twitter and to be in these forums. Um, do any of you have that problem where that aspect of weight loss becomes too much, whether it be YouTube videos or being on Facebook in groups, reading blogs on forums, all this stuff where you're interacting with other people, taking pictures of every bite and putting it on Instagram, like whatever it is.
That's funny you said that. Ben gets annoyed when I take pictures of my food. He does. Because he wants to eat. And I'm like, no, 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 because we haven't prayed yet, so clearly we have to wait to pray so I can take my picture. So he doesn't get annoyed about that. But yeah, I can see how it would happen though, because it's really, I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy, especially just with your phone and the whole thing. But like you said, I think weight loss surgery patients tend to have more access to those groups. So I haven't, I mean, I felt it a little bit, but the same could be said when like fantasy football is going on. I get that way too. So, but you do notice that they a lot of them will report like really serious social isolation from the rest of their friends and family. I haven't experienced anything like that.
Oh, I was totally annoyed when Khalif started with this YouTube stuff. Oh my gosh. It was like he was on YouTube all the time, watching all these videos and talking to these strangers and then like he's developing relationships, so then he's texting like to me these strangers, and it was just so weird. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Where's my husband? Can I have him back? It was, yeah, it was strange for me on this end at first.
And then you got sucked in. You're like,
Then
oh,
I
these
got
people. Yes.
somewhat sucked in.
Yeah. Yeah, I really haven't experienced any of that. I think because Matthew and I have done a lot of this together, so we kind of joined at the same time. And also, we don't have a smartphone, so I'm not taking pictures of food. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not constantly connected to social media like that. I only am connected is when I physically sit down and use my laptop, which I do far too often, but not as much as I would if I had, that smartphone and stuff. So I really don't have that problem right now. Hopefully, I don't ever have that. So,
Yeah, well, I think it's been since like maybe November or earlier. I haven't been able to watch any videos really. I mean, I've watched maybe three or four that you guys have posted and maybe one or two other people, and I really haven't been able to watch any. I have no clue what's going on with anyone that I was subscribed to. And I guess I haven't posted a video in like 6 or 7 weeks, so people have no idea what's going on with me. So um, I'm definitely not in that position now, but I was before, and I think it was just because I was blogging about weight loss, and everybody who was reading the blog were people who knew me from other walks of life and probably never had weight problems or anything like that, never had to deal with food overtaking their life. So it was hard to really, it was hard to connect, I guess, with the readers of the blog. But then when I found people on YouTube, actually through someone's blog, and I was like, wow, all these people interact with each other and support each other, and then start to interact with each other about other areas of life that aren't weight loss related and develop friendships and like, wow, this seems kind of real. It took a while for me to get to that point because I was used to blogging about it to people who really probably didn't care, but they were supporting me because they read my other personal finance blog and other things. So I probably did jump into it a little too much.
I think, like we said, it can be exciting and daunting and all this stuff when you first get started on any kind of health or fitness or whatever journey. But just be mindful. Be mindful of how it does affect your family, your friends, your kids, your spouse, like all those things. Um, and don't be so narrow in your scope that the rest of your life suffers because of it.
Okay. Brooke, Sarah?
what Sherry Ann said. She
Nice.
said
Okay.
it good. She did. She's right. I mean, weight loss and your health is really important, but you have to remember the other aspects of your life, and you don't want just one thing to overtake everything. So you have to prioritize the best you can and make time for everything. It's hard, but I mean, sometimes we succeed, sometimes we don't. So you just have to try.
When I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. But I, great advice, though. Very, very good advice.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but, I've seen some people do the opposite. Some people take 6 months or less and devote 80% of their life to weight loss and then never ever have to think about it again because they went kind of overboard for a very short period of time and then they just moved on with the rest of their life. And all they had to do was maintain where they were, and it worked out great for them. So, different things work for different people, and I guess you have to find what works best for you considering your relationships and other obligations. All right, so that's all we're going to talk about tonight, or at least right now. And again, leave all your comments below, and we will make sure to respond to them, even though we aren't here live with you. All right. Have a good evening, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.